mother-in-law's dwelling. We're here in Tualatin City today, waiting to go to Columbia Junior College where I'm going to address the Conference of California Historical Societies regarding the problems involved with setting up a museum regarding the Miwok and Paiute culture of the Yosemite Valley region. We had a lot of very interesting things in this house. My mother-in-law did a lot of things which reflect the heritage of my wife's family. We have many interesting things. This is a pot, a broken pot, yes. Alas, my mother-in-law has a lot of cats, primarily because her husband likes cats. And the cats tend to break pots. This is a beautiful Zia pot, just excellent, exquisite piece. I wish you could have seen it.
Let's show this piece again.
Oh yes, this piece is, as you can see, it has the traditional floral-like pattern which Zia pottery many times contains. It also had a bird. Let me see if I can find you a bird. Well, if you can focus in on this piece, you can see the bottom of the bird, but it's rather difficult to see. There you go. Yes, right? It's a beautiful Zia pot. I wish you could have seen it. This house contains many things which are representative of the culture today. How many times have you seen a cradle board, which is used to carry babies, carrying baby chairs? Yes. Very unique. This is a cradle board, such as are made today by the Western Mono people. Very good example of this type of cradle board, complete with these hand-woven straps, which is utilized to tie the baby in. The painting, which you can see on the hood here, was originally done with red earth color, which they have in many cases been replaced by Muciricum and things of this nature. This is a very
bring it out so we can see it.
Example here. You can bring this closer to the camera so you can get a good shot.
I get a good shot of it here.
This is a Washoe birding basket. A very excellent example of this type of basket. The twine material used for the weft here is done with whole sheep rather than with split material. A very characteristic feature of Washoe basketry. The rim underneath the wrapping of denim, you cannot probably make it out, but the wardrobe has been bent over and twined on top of each other. And this has been wrapped onto the rim tip without the aid of an awl, utilizing strips of denim. This is a very characteristic feature of Washoe birding basket, the use of denim along the rim and on the base section since about 1900. The basket itself is encrusted with black sticks used in gathering the pine cones of the Simian pine, Pinus monopola, which is the mainstay outside of the Washoe people. And inside, you'll notice a strengthening rod, which helps to keep the basket in a more rigid position. Oh yes. This is my brother-in-law, Mr. Neil, and who just brought us this fine piece here.
Let me get this in focus here.
Very excellent piece. Quite rare, too. This is a pomo fish trap from the region just north of Clear Lake, in that area. A very interesting specimen in that it's woven in a wicker style, which is not characteristic of most pomo fish traps. Most pomo fish traps are woven in the twine technique. The way in which this basket is made is actually two baskets. One large one, which you can see the base section of that down here, very coarsely done, woven out of this whole sheet with the bark left on. And then another smaller basket has been woven with a hole in the center, you see here, into which the fish swim. This is placed into the river, and first this is lashed onto the top, as you see here. Then the fish swim along, and they go in here and get inside. And once they get inside, they cannot get out. So then the Como person goes down to the river and picks up his fish trap.
Why can't they get out?
Fish get confused when they go inside. They don't know if they have to go out the same hole they came in. And if they're larger fish, it's difficult for them to turn around. These are also used to catch eels and things of this nature. Fish traps are very characteristic of the northern coast of California, north of San Francisco, utilized by many of the Indian peoples of that region. Many objects are around here, such as this fine necklace we have here. This is a necklace out of discoidal clamshell disc beads. The beads themselves are made out of the Washington clam. The Washington clam, a clam about this size, is broken up into many small pieces. Each piece is tipped until it's roughly circular in form. A hole is drilled in each piece, and this is strung very straight and tightly on a type of grass called wire grass. The wire grass is rolled back and forth on a stone slab with water until they all attain a uniform size. In here also, you might notice there are several other beads of a slightly different color, 4 of them, these 4 beads here. These beads are magnesite. Trade item from the Indian people of the Lake County region. It's a white stone which, when found in the ground, then is taken and it's an extremely hard rock. It's baked in a fire in a covered pit for 4 hours until it explodes, and then it becomes this beautiful pink color. These beads were extremely expensive in the old days and commanded quite a high price in the aboriginal trade of ancient California. Still today, very important with many Indian people today, is the usage of acorns. Acorns still provide a very important foodstuff for the native people at times of these birthday parties today, of course, and things of this nature. These are partially ground acorns here. These are a very traditional Miwok soup basket. In baskets such as this, the people actually cook them today on occasion still do. The basket itself is woven with a willow stick as the framework. You can see here on the rim where it has worn off. The willow stick is visible. And the background materials are the split shoots of the bull pine, which grows quite prevalently in this region. The black material is the root of the bracken fern, called tuna in Miwok. And it's quite tuna is the word for the design material. And it's quite an exceptional piece, although not as visually impressive perhaps as pomo or mighty work with this rather bumpy texture that you see here. This is very indicative of the work that was produced by the original Miwok of the Sierra Nevada region. Next to it here, we have another basket. This is not Miwok, and many baskets of this type which were utilized by the Miwok people were not as Miwok manufactured. This particular piece is probably Paviotso, northern Paiute, and it's made entirely out of willow. The people in that region are unable to obtain any other material for design. You can just simply make out the three design bands in this piece, and the slight discoloration still left here on the bottom, making the ticking on the bottom row. On the back it's still much more visible, but you'll notice that as compared perhaps to the black design in this basket here, that the coloration is not anywhere near as distinct. This basket, the black design in here, is from the willow when it's peeled in the fall, and the inner bark of the willow still adheres to the split willow branches. It is then touched up with a dyeing of several natural materials which are boiled together. Quite an good example of this type of work which was produced by the Paviotso or northern Paiute people.
Kevin, give me those mortars. So, talk about these. Give them all those mortars. That one down there, the one I found?
We have while my sister-in-law here is getting some other material, we'll look up here. Here I just noticed the new acquisition on other markets forever requiring new things. Underneath this plant is a very excellent example of Colby pottery. Craft the cat must have gotten to it. But quite a nice piece, actually.
Can't get it down.
Next to it, up here, is a pastel drawing by the famous artist R.C. Gorman. He did not
All right.
This is a painting, or rather a pastel drawing, by the famous Navajo artist R.C. Gorman. Mr. Gorman today operates a studio in Taos, New Mexico. When he first became known was through the efforts of the American Indian Historical Society, at least to some extent. Just prior to this time, my mother-in-law acquired this painting.
That's the morning prayer, isn't it? That's the name of it, yeah.
Morning prayer?
Yeah.
I'm told this is the morning prayer. But as you can see, it's a very nice drawing by the same Navajo artist, Mr. Gorman.
Okay.
My sister-in-law here has got some other material out, and I noticed this is pretty neat out over here on this side of the room. I'll just walk over here.
You're supposed to follow.
Many interesting things. So these are a collection of mortars which my mother-in-law has acquired from various friends and things. Mortars, and also a matate type. The matate was not a traditional implement in a set of many of the Miwok people. It was acquired by them through their contact with the Indian people on the eastern side of the Sierra, and to whom they started using this sort of thing, and they acquired it themselves. In this mortar here we have some very beautiful looking manzanita berries. So these are the ones we wrote about. These are very nice. Can we get a close up on these? These are the berries of the manzanita called ayet in Miwok, I believe. These are Mariposa manzanita, Archistaphyles mariposa. and would make into a very delicious and refreshing drink. These are pounded up in the mortars and pestles, and you'll notice here, I'll break one of these, that there's a large seed inside of the nut, perhaps inside of the berry. Perhaps you can't see it, I'm not certain. And otherwise it's very floury, not at all like a nut would be. This is when the berry is considered ripe. So notice they're very sticky, they stick all over your hand, as they're doing here. And you take and pound them up just until that is broken. You put them in a basket such as that pipe one that we were looking at earlier, over a basket. Well, in this exact arrangement. Berries are placed on this basket, and then water is poured over the berries, pounded berries. The water percolates through the basket into this. And this water is recycled again. And lo, a cool and refreshing drink is the product. It's very, very good thing. It's much like manzanita cider. Of course, the manzanita in Spanish means little apple. Now, my mother-in-law also has problems with her collection, as probably most people do. This was a good example of Northern Californian basketry. As you can see, there's rather dark here, to put it mildly. Rips up the side and this sort of thing. Pieces still in the basket. People often ask me, what in the heck do you do with a basket of this type? That is a good question, a very good question. If I had this particular basket and used it for some reason for museum exhibit work, what would be done would be it would have to first be thoroughly cleaned, which is done with a small hand vacuum with a piece of screening sometimes attached over the nozzle, which you don't ever touch the basket. You move it right near the basket, vacuum the entire piece. Then, very gently, it would have to be put in the proper humidity, and then spin. And put together. Now, when it's put together, you must use Japanese tissue. Japanese tissue is a very fine white tissue paper, and there's a special type of glue that we utilize from our interpretive center in Hartford Ferry, which is moistened with. Then that is taken with a brush and be laid right over this crack that is drawn together, and we push into the crevices of the basket, into the stitching, with the brush. And this would form a bond to hold the basket together. This basket would require probably in excess of 70 hours work to restore the basket to any semblance of its former self. Problems like this are noted in many types of baskets, and we have another basket from up north in that region. This is a cradle board from that area. Many cradle boards of this exact size were being made in the 1890s. The fruit is entirely missing from this top section. Portions of the hazel and willow branches are missing from here. What to do with this basket is a good question. You may be able, if you have the proper materials, to replace this top hoop. This basket is probably not in that older condition where you could possibly replace some of the skids. It would be very difficult. Many baskets, such as this small washer burden basket, which my mother-in-law acquired while she was going to Indian school in Stewart, Nevada, can be replaced. This ring stick on the top here was broken and cracked, and then I replaced it. It was quite simple to do. The basket was inverted in a small pan of water. The water coming up to about this level. I soaked it. This is how baskets are broken. I soaked it, unraveled the material on here, and then what was left was these warp rods that were bent and twined over each other. Then I got a new rim stick, placed it on here, and attached it just as the washer people would without the airs and all. And the rim of the basket is in good condition as it was in the original piece. You can notice, however, the material is lighter colored, and this is what has to be expected when you repair a basket. With time it will discolor. Now the bottom of this basket, hello there, up a little bit. Hello there, really isn't here at all. See, this isn't here at all. What this bottom, there's just nothing you can do. And this is the reason that the other burden basket I showed you earlier has the denim about the base, is simply because there was no protection on it, and that's why it's broke. So there's really nothing you can do with this basket. This is a very good example of a type of musical instrument which was used by the Miwok people from times immemorial. This is called takata. The clapstick rattle used in most all Miwok ceremonies. This particular one was made by Chief William Ford of the Central Miwok, at least 40 years ago, perhaps. It's a good example of this type of clapstick. You'll notice that the elderberry itself, if you could zoom in on the end of the handle here, it has a pith in the center of it. And this pith in the center, somebody stuck a pencil or something in there, it looks like, is dug out of the split portion of the clapstick. You see it split. And there we are. You can see the groove in the backside of the clapstick, right in here. And this is caused by scraping out all that pith. Now, the clapstick, when it's split, is split crooked, but this section here is only perhaps 1/4 of the width of the entire diameter of the clapstick. When it's utilized, it's held in the hand and trembles for certain portions of the dancers, or used like this for other parts of the dance. This ending at the top of the clapstick, where you'll notice where it's cut to form a point, seems to be very indicative of Miwok clapsticks from the central region. A similar style has also been noted among some of the southern Miwok ones used in Yosemite. A good example of that type of clapstick. Trade was a very important thing in California. This necklace here is a copy of a pommel example, which is present in the Field Museum of Natural History in Chicago. This is made of the clamshell beads, which we discussed earlier, and the abalone shell ornaments, which were a very important trade item and found much favor with most all Indian people in California. They're chained together to make this sort of a necklace. What else do we have here? There's Kevin. This is my nephew Kevin. Like you meet Kevin Bernito. He's my nephew. He's pretty good kid once in a while. So these are two soap root brushes, which Kevin thought you might like. Thank you very much, Kevin. They're both examples of different ways in which they are made. This one here, the soap root plant, is a bulb sort of like an onion in its growth, surrounded by this fiber. And they're dug up this time of year in the fall. The fiber is peeled off. Then it has this natural curvature that you see is quite evident in both of these brushes if we look at them from the side. And the blade with this curvature all going in one direction, wrapped tightly. And this one here is coated with boiled pine pitch. Boiled pine pitch renders the handle waterproof and it won't come apart. It's very good for scrubbing your baskets and things like this. The other one has the handle coated with the boiled onion part, the bulb itself, of the soap root plant. It makes a very good handle, about 2 or 3 coatings of that. It makes quite a nice serviceable handle for cleaning yourself, such as this, or if you have to brush something, it's quite good for that. One excellent example of this was for the hairbrush. Hairbrush, where we'll show you on Kevin's, you notice how it combs the hair very nicely. Just one inch of nice to comb the hair. Doesn't that feel good, Kevin? And he said yes, by the way. And this works very, very well. It was thought that the soap root combing your hair would make your hair grow longer, and that the actual bulb itself, which gives the plant its name, soap root, will make your hair just grow beautifully. The bulb itself, when you take the bulb and you mash it up, it will make a soap that will literally foam all over the place. It washes the hair quite nice, just very nicely. Thank you, Kevin. My wife, this is my wife Jennifer.
Get over there.
This is my lovely wife Jennifer. She's trying to hide from the camera. She's looking at the camera so folks at home can see you. She's laughing. She's not used to it, because none of us are. But my wife Jennifer. So now you've met my wife. She got me this picture of her lovely.
Turn it down this way, forward. There you go, right there.
This is the annual Acorn Festival here at the Swallowing Miwok Rancheria. She's dancing with Governor Edmund Brown Jr. And this shows some of the traditional costuming of the Miwok. He is wearing a top because in the old days women always went topless, but when you have these public functions you can't do that very well. He was wearing moccasins because of this particular acorn festival. Of all acorn festivals, if you walk barefoot, you take your feet into your own hands, so to speak, because there's so many flip-top cans from all the beers. There's beer around, broken pork, cookie, musky hell bottles, things like that. It's just terrible, I tell you. But anyway, that's why she wears moccasins at this acorn festival. Yeah. Too fast, folks. This here is a excellent example of a Miwok trinket basket. This type of basket was used in the old days for carrying bonals and things of this nature, always made in this fashion with suspended from some sort of a song type arrangement. Where's this black one come from, Richie?
That's, feathers? Somewhere.
Yeah. Right in there. At any rate, this utilizes the willow stick, split red bud in the spring. When the bark comes off, it's used for this white design. And the black again is the bracken spring root. An example of the Miwok trinket basket. Today, these examples you see next to it here on the table are examples of things that Indian people today create for sale to non-Indians. How would you like to own a Navajo rug weaver? You too can have a Navajo rug weaver in your very home. These are made by the Navajo people, a little doll.
Well, I'm going to kill you.
Fire rep. At any rate, this is a Navajo doll. There's fire in there. We don't look at that anymore. Oh my. One of them just acquired this piece from an elderly Thomas River lady in very good condition. No, it's very sturdy. This is a pin cushion. The cushion is the new sharpener. I'll give you another example of things that are made for sale to white people. A traditional Thomas River design on the staff is a very beautiful design. Done in two tones, the black of the maidenhair fern stem, with the inner reddish portion being dyed with warrior stem, being dyed with alder bark. The background is the white bear dress, barefoot and pat, and it's sticks in this example, I believe, are hazel. But an excellent example of the adaptivity of Native American people. Even notice that beautiful design on the bottom there. Creativity and ingenuity, some people call it ingenuity, of the Indian people, to create things for the white market. Yes. Wine ball is something you find around every Indian ranch. And many Indian people latched on to this idea of finding their empty wine bottles, of which there were many, to cover them with baskets of beads. This is a faded example of a quinault basket. You can still see the remnants of the aniline dyes in it. The quinault people on the north coast, up by, I believe it is Washington, Oregon, created this sort of thing for sale to non-Indian people. Just as the Washoe and Paiute people also created very similar things. Oh, my bracelet? You want to see? Oh, of course. My bracelet here that I'm wearing today, this is a bracelet made by the Haida Indian people. I get a little bit of a glare on that. The Haida people on the northwest coast are part of the people they call the totem pole carvers. And they actually acquired silverwork, I'm told, prior to the advent of the Navajo people acquiring it. These traditional designs of the Haida people were incorporated into silverwork to this and into copperwork. And that's what this is like. It's probably a beaver, we're told, although it's been thought to be perhaps a sea monster because there's not the usual cross hatchings of a tail. But if you want to see how you'd like to see that. Here we have something else which is a lost cause, sort of. This was a very excellent example of the Klamath River hat. The hat, the hats here of the Klamath River people are very distinctive in that they were divided into three regions. First region, which went right here, had a specific design, which is related to this design in the second region. And the design in the third region is in actuality almost at the bottom section of this design in the middle region. If you cut off this top portion here, put that bottom bar and lay it onto the bottom here. And this was a very excellent example of that type of hat. The symmetry of the hat you can still see, and it divides into three parts. And this is a very beautiful piece. Here we had an excellent example of the traditional basketry of the Miwok people. This has acorn flour in it from, or is it plain? Acorn. I love that smell of acorn flour. Acorn flour is still stuck into the sides of it from when they found acorn around here.
Yeah, no, come on.
The basket itself, you'll notice, is an extremely traditional Miwok style. This possibly was made by Mrs. Fuller, Annie Fuller, the wife of Chief William Fuller, whose clapstick we saw earlier. It's a traditional soft spring start used by the Miwok people. And it's a 3-rod basket that works entirely in the thread root, with coming up to design to be done in bracken fernery. Bracken fernery, again, being an indicative feature of the basketry of the northern Miwok people. Mrs. Fuller herself was of northern Miwok descent, although she did live in central Miwok territory. So notice the design is divided into 4. It's still very symmetrical. And it's a wonder what the design would have become. But a beautiful piece. This is a beautiful piece. The design itself may be a more recent design, but I'm not really sure. Pardon? Okay. What else do we have here? Oh, my sister-in-law's gotten down a picture for us all to see here. This picture is a picture of Maria Lebrano Yarde. She was called the last survivor. She was the granddaughter of Chief Tenaya, the last traditional head man of the Indian people of the Yosemite region, and was a small child in 1851 when the soldiers came to Yosemite Valley to chase all the Indian people away. She was interviewed in the late 1920s and about 1930 by Carl P. Russell, then Chief Park Naturalist of Yosemite National Park, and Mrs. H.J. Taylor from San Francisco, who published her book, The Last Survivor, and Maria herself passed away, I believe it was in 1932, at a probable age well in excess of 100 years. She's related to my wife, to my mother-in-law's husband. She was his great-great-grandmother, great-great-great-grandmother, something like that. At any rate, she remembers her as a small child. So you just remember this really withered old lady sitting around. But Maria Lebrano herself had many important things to tell about the history of her people. General, or Major Savage, they called him, he called Charlotte. And he said he always wore red, likening it to the habit of James Savage always wearing red shirts, red underwear, red everything. And he said that he did dirty things with the women the first time that he met them. Cradle board, yes. We're going to look at this cradle board here again. This is the cradle board type utilized by the Western Mono people. This cradle board is very interesting in several aspects. The Western Mono are a group of Yupik-speaking peoples which are thought to have migrated to the eastern escarpment of the Sierra Nevada about 500 years ago. Pardon me, to the western escarpment of the Sierra Nevada about 500 years ago. This cradle board, therefore, is very similar to that of their neighbors to their immediate east, the Owens Valley Paiute. The back of this cradle board has sticks going in one direction, and then this is contrast with sticks going in the opposite direction, which is last by a technique which is not really twining and not really coiling, but the pattern which forms the V on the back forms the V on the front. Then the edges are, the sticks are bent and split, bound into each other to form a very nicely finished edge which will not harm or mar anyone. The tie strap is put in. The tie strap is done by a technique called finger weaving, and which no loom is utilized, but there's actual type of braiding. This particular one probably done with maybe 30 or 40 strands. A very nice example of that type. The hood on the cradle board, mono hoods are in two types. One type is a zip where it attaches to the top. The other type is straight edge, that's here, it's cut off here two small strings pulling it back in this direction. The hood itself is done in sourberry sticks, as most of the cradle board is. These rods that go across here are usually out of the sticks of the chaparral. You can't really see them because they're covered with all this weeding, but the long rods go at a right angle to the warp rods here are chaparral sticks. The long rods here are sourberry sticks, which are twined together with sedge root. Sedge root is a very favorite material of many Indian people of California. It's exceedingly pliable, just beautiful material to work with. The dark color in this basket, which forms this design, sort of, is done in the red bed. You'll notice these dots, and also the insides of these are painted. And this is a leftover from the old technique of painting with a type of red herb. These bead decorations is something that has been done on these types of cradle boards for some number of years. And the design, you'll notice the design. This is a very interesting feature of people who were at one time connected with the Paiute people, is that designs are indicative of the sex of the child. A design such as this, which the design does not connect, is the key thing to remember. It could be perhaps lines slanting rather than these. Sideways these could be parallel slanting lines perhaps. But if the design does not connect, it's for a boy. Now this design would be a zigzag going across here, or diamonds which would connect with each other, touching on the apex. Touching on the apex of the diamond, it would be for a girl. So, cradle board is, you could always tell when a woman was carrying the cradle board and smiling her child in the cradle board, what sex the child was from the design on